All right, guys, it's that time of week again. It's week 13 of the NHL Power Rankings. I'm going to get us started straight off the bat. A new 32 this week and a team I did not expect. The Winnipeg Jets, Jaden. 32.
Yeah, I don't even have to look at my list. Yes.
Yeah, look, who would have thought the President's Trophy winners of last season are now dead last in the standings? And I'm not even saying it's not even that they're equal on points in last place. They are 3 points behind 31st in the league standings. They are performing so poorly at the moment. They've lost their last four. They're 1-6-3 in their last 10. But I think we spoke about last week how they were 8-3 or 9-3 to start the season. So they've literally won 6 games in their last 28 games or something. They're 6-22 in their last 28 games. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I
not good.
I honestly don't have much to add. I would just want to ask Winnipeg fans what you're seeing. How does it feel?
Mhm.
From the
Yeah.
highs to the low, like the lowest of lows. I guess you're in the McKenna race. So
Mhm.
there's
I mean, they're probably not overly that upset about it. It's like, well, if we have
if
one really, really bad season, we
if you
get a
yeah
McKenna,
if you
and they
don't
do
make in
sort of like a,
playoffs, at least bottom out. Um,
they do a New York Islanders,
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
geez.
that's probably might be all what it takes for them. But yeah, let us know what Winnipeg fans or just anybody has friends at Winnipeg. How is the mood over there? Because it must be bad. Moving on, 31, the old 32, Chicago.
Yeah, couldn't move up too far on them,
I don't even know if it's because they're playing well. It's purely like Winnipeg just bottoming out.
pretty much. Yeah.
Um, yeah, 7-3 loss against Pittsburgh. They go shootout against the Islanders and lose. It's shootout. They beat Dallas, which was really good, and then they go to shootout
Right.
against the Caps and get the extra point. Um, so pretty well done in regards to the week. Obviously, it's still a long way to go, if not the season already over. So you're going for draft picks and whatnot, and
Mm.
you also, your boy is not going to the Nationals, so you've got that as well. I do think Celebrini is the better pick in my opinion. If it was between those two, I would have gone Celebrini as well. But yeah,
I do agree, but I also thought there was probably going to be a spot for Bedard on the team.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean,
I'm just
Shaka
saying
didn't
if that
make
was your
it
last
either.
two picks and you had to pick one, I was a Celebrini boy. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, you could probably throw him in somewhere else. Yeah.
100%. All right, let's move on to 30. I have a team, the Vancouver Canucks. That's that little burst of energy they got from trading out Quinn Hughes has quickly popped and gone away.
It was always a big
Um,
crash, wasn't it?
Yeah, like they won 4 straight games after trading him out. Everyone thinks, oh, new Vancouver, how good. But the reality was Vancouver weren't any good with Quinn. And yes, they got a couple of decent young players when they traded him, but it was never going to be sustainable. It was always just this burst of energy. They were always going to go back to pretty much where they were. Um, but yeah, they go. I think they still ended up with something like uh, 4 points on the week, 4 out of 4, even though they went 1-3 on the week. But it's just those OT points, and they probably you could have argued they had a bit of a weaker week in
Argued they
terms of
did have a
opponents.
week. It was a very much
Yeah,
a weaker,
yeah,
week.
they played Seattle twice, Philly once, and Boston once. Who Boston I know have been okay this season, but they are on a bit of a slide at the moment. So yeah,
Harder
not
thing,
good
they
for them.
had 4 games. One of them was a back to back. That back to back was against Philly, and they went from Seattle to Philly, which is not a short trip. I'm actually not sure why that's a back to back.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I feel like that Philly game was kind of just a write off, just purely because of
yeah.
that. But yeah, the other games, Seattle, Boston, easier games. And they got some points, which
Uh,
was
it
decent.
the second game was at home in Vancouver, so it was
Oh,
Seattle
okay.
to
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So not as far.
No,
That's
I thought it was Philly, but yeah, yeah, you're right.
yeah, yeah. All right, on to your.
Mine, yeah, 30 St. Louis. I've been low on this
Hmm.
team for a while, and I find it hard to move them up.
They had they
Um,
had a, they had an okay week though, Jaden. They went 2-2.
all right, boy. Um, so yeah, look, we'll go through it. They lose to Buffalo, only having the 18 shots. Lose to Colorado, 1 goal, 13 shots. Vegas, they win 19 shots, and Montreal on a back-to-back, they win 19 shots. If you haven't noticed, I mentioned their shots just because they can't shoot over 20, um, 20 shots a game. They were negative 57 in shot differential. They don't look good. Granted, uh, a tough week in regards to opponents. Obviously, Avs, Buffalo, who are on a flyer, and so on. But it's just how they also look, even in wins.
Hmm.
That it, yeah, I can't move them. I've been sitting around 30 mark for a while now, and I feel like it's pretty much where they're at.
Yeah, I haven't like I've watched a few games of them this year, but I haven't got to watch a heap of their stuff. I watched a couple of their games this week, and yeah, it was ordinary. And I was even with the wins they got, I was like, I'm still probably moving them down because they just don't look good. It's just not good hockey at the moment.
Yeah, that's
28.
why I don't watch many of their games personally. it's it's like I haven't watched many of Calgary and Minnesota's after watching those that debacle. So
Yeah, bit of
just
PTSD.
yeah, just PTSD. I want to watch good hockey.
Mm. All right, 28 for me. A team on the rise, but I'm a bit hesitant still. Columbus Blue Jackets. They had a good
Uh,
week.
I'm higher on them at 24.
I mean, you had them at 27 last week, so I wasn't expecting you to have them
Yeah,
where I had them this week.
same movement.
Yeah. But look, yeah, very good week. 4-2 win against the Islanders, 4-1 win against the Sens. They did lose 3-2 against the Devils, but they led a large chunk of that game. I think outside of 2 minutes where they conceded 3 goals, they led most of that. And then a 5-1 win against Buffalo Sabres. And that's the red hot Buffalo Sabres to end their 10
Mm,
game winning streak. So, um, I did contemplate going a lot harder on them and moving them up because they have looked a lot better. Um, but I don't want to make a move on them too quickly and then they go and lose their next five because that is just something that the Blue Jackets can do and have been prone to, but they are looking good at the moment.
yeah, I was going to go harder if the bottom end of this table didn't all have good
Good
weeks.
weeks.
um, but they are looking like one of the better informed teams out of this. Like those three
Yeah.
wins are huge wins and a close loss
Hmm.
against the Devils, which is another hard team. So
Hmm.
four games for the week and four really good games. So yeah,
Hmm.
definitely on my watch list or radar for teams that moving on up pretty quickly. On to my 28, I have a Utah.
Utah. Yeah, they're my 26.
And yeah, if we just get their week here, they go 1-2, have the 3 games this week, lose to Buffalo, Nashville by a goal, um, beat Islanders 7-2 with only 21 shots, and then a 1-4 loss against the Devils today. It's
Hmm.
uh, it's hard to know what they are, um,
Mm.
but they're 5-5 in the last 10, but they just keep trending in the wrong direction. And now
Mm.
they're one of the only teams like in the bottom 16 in points percentage that have a plus minus goal differential in the green. Um,
Hmm.
but they are down the bottom now, like around the
Yeah.
28 mark in standings as well. So, and that's
Hmm.
just how they've been. But yeah, good week I think in regards to like the Islanders when it was a close game against Nashville, and then you had Devils today.
Yeah, I think Utah are still playing reasonably good hockey. I think they're a bit unlucky at times, and I think their depth seems to be an issue as well. So, yeah, I
Yeah, it's been
think
an issue for a long time.
they need a bit of luck, and they need more than just Keller and Paterka and that to carry them, sort of thing. So, um, so you watch it in their play. They're always the ones whenever Utah are either scoring or in a scoring position, it always seems to be Keller's line, and they need a bit more production going down that list as well. I mean, Schmaltz has been good, Gunther's been good as well, but again, you can't just have three players carrying a team with three or four players. You need an entire lineup, and I don't
Yeah.
think they've quite got it.
Well, I'm interested to see if they become sellers because a couple of these players, like I think Schmaltz and whatnot, are like UFAs or
UFAs,
and
yeah.
whatnot. So I'm interested to see. I think they'll get you a good ransom. So
Mhm. Yeah, 100%. All right, 27 for me. Another team I was very hesitant to move up on too quickly, but they are on a bit of a heater and they're actually in a playoff spot now, which is crazy. The Seattle Kraken. Actually, it's not crazy because they're in the West and they're in the Pacific, which sucks, because I don't know if anyone's noticed, but
you
the
suck, Pacific.
the first place Pacific team would literally be like sixth in the wild card race in the East. They would be almost like fourth to bottom in
Yeah.
the East. So just FYI on that. But yes, the Kraken had a very good week. They beat the Flyers 4-1. They lost to Vancouver Canucks 2-3 in shootout, but that was on the back to back. Then they go and beat Nashville Predators 4-1. And Nashville Predators have been a very good team lately. And then they go and beat the Canucks again on a back to back, 4-3. Now, just with scheduling, I just want to point this out to everyone. How unfair is it that the Kraken played two back to back games? They played both back to back games against the Vancouver Canucks, and the Vancouver Canucks were not on a back to back. Like who schedules this?
I think it's a
Um,
I think it's a bot.
yeah,
They literally put it through a bot, like an AI,
it's
whatever you want to call
it's it is shocking. I cannot believe that they played the Canucks on two back-to-backs in the one week, and the Canucks were not on a back-to-back on either of those games. That is just dumb scheduling. But the Kraken overall playing better, still worried about their scoring, um, but they're winning games. The West is going to be an easier conference to make playoffs in. I think you're going to get in with less points, I believe, than you are in the East. But yeah, we'll see if they can maintain it.
All right, on to my 27. It's my big call for the week, the Anaheim Ducks,
Ooh,
negative
yeah,
15.
yeah, they're 25 for me.
And yeah, made a few big calls this year because of just how close it is. But look, they lose
Mhm.
to San Jose. They have 42 shots. They concede 5 on 13 shots, and they lose
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Kind of sums them up for the last over a month and a half. OT loss against Tampa, and then a 5-2 loss against the Wild. Two tough opponents. They get a point. It's a week that they should at least get two from the San
Mhm.
Jose game, and they don't. They've just been trending in the wrong direction for a while now. 2-6-2 in their last 10. The negative goal differential now, they're 20th in the standings in regards to points. Um, yeah, like they got 21 wins, which is good. They haven't been OT merchants, but yeah, it's been about a month and a half now of just like slow decline. They're kind of doing what Chicago did, and I guess if San Jose do that too, then the world goes back to normal. Because that's how it's been for so long. Those three at
The
the bottom.
three bottom end teams that
Yeah,
everyone thought were going to have good years all of a sudden still finish bottom three.
yeah,
I mean, look, there's a chance. I'm disappointed because I thought the Anaheim Ducks were further ahead in their rebuild than the likes of the Sharks and Blackhawks. But yeah, I mean, they do still heavily outshoot their opponents. They kind of outplay them as well for bits, but they can't keep the puck out of their net, and they can't put it in their net enough. So like at the end of the day, you can play good hockey and still lose, but if you don't eventually get the results and you just consistently lose, like you're gonna end up out of the playoffs. Like they had such a good run early on in the season that they're still holding on, but they are just holding on at the moment. And these results, even though they are playing okay hockey. They're not. I don't think they're. I personally don't think they're a 25th, 26th, 27th team in the league in terms of their performances. I just think that's the results at the moment have been going really, really south, and their performance has been probably between 16 to 20s. So they still haven't been playing great, but they're not getting any results. They're not getting anything go their
My
way.
issue is the
Um,
consistency of the issues of how long it's been going on. That's why
mm,
they're so far down for me. I
yeah,
held out and held out and held out, but yeah, because of
had to move.
how they're playing on ice, it
Mm,
looks alright. But at a certain point, all that matters
you
is
got to make a
wins.
call.
Yeah,
You got to make a call, and you've got other teams ahead of them at the moment because it is such a tight season. All right, 24 for me. I have the New York Rangers.
yeah, my 25.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that I refuse to put in my top 16, and it was purely because I just don't trust them, and they are still continuing to prove me right. Now, don't get me wrong, they didn't have an easy week, but a 2-3 OT loss to the Canes, a 3-6 loss to the Capitals, but then a good comeback and a good 5-1 win against the Panthers. So, difficult week, but also Canes are on a bit of a slide, Caps are on a bit of a slide. And then they beat the one team that was actually, performing quite well going into the game. So that they're just that sort of team. Like they're topsy turvy. I think they're something like um in the what is it in they're second to bottom in the conference of the East. But in saying that, they would almost be in a playoff spot if they're in the West. Um, but yeah, they're just inconsistent, and I just don't like what I'm seeing. Like, I still think they're good money to break the shutout record. I still think they're a good chance to get the same amount, if not more, of shutouts this season than I think it was the Columbus Blue
Yeah,
Jackets of 16. So,
well, they heavily
yeah.
outshot in all three games. Negative 34 in shot differential in three games. You losing on average like 10 a game in shot differential.
Mhm.
That's not going to win you games, and you're not going to score many goals. So yeah, I can see the shutout thing becoming coming to fruition. On to 23, Toronto.
Whee. They are 22 for me.
Ah, wow, you gone high on them.
Gone heaps high.
Look, it wasn't a bad week. They OT loss against Detroit. They 4-0 New Jersey. A pretty poor New Jersey to be fair. Um, Beat Winnipeg 6-5, and then OT loss to the Islanders. I'm just not sold on their play at all. Like, you haven't moved them, and there was on a right week in regards to points and everything.
Yeah,
Uh, they're 5-3-2 in their last 10, but I'm just not sold on them. I just don't see the
no,
heart. I don't like their power play has gotten better. Matthews, got a hat trick and started to look a little bit better. Things are starting to click a little bit, but I just don't see it. I still think they're
yeah,
they're too slow. They have issues. Obviously they've got a new coach, so we'll have to see how like it all goes out. But yeah,
yeah. I think obviously Matthews has just become the leading goal scorer for Toronto Maple Leafs in history. But I'm with you. I just don't think the passion's there. I don't think their depth is there. Yeah, there's a lot of issues going on, but we'll see if we'll see what the rest of the season brings if they can truly bounce back. But I'm not completely sold.
all right, your pick.
It is my pick. I forgot that that was yours. 23. I am Calgary Flames.
21.
I was hoping that these guys might rise up the ranks a little bit, but I couldn't quite do it. I think I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from them, but yeah, like I held back a little bit. But a really good week again, like 2-1 overtime win against the Boston Bruins, 5-1 win against the Flyers, which, that's a decent team. The Flyers are hard to score against, and to put five up against them is solid. And then a 3-4 loss against the Nashville Predators, which, the Predators have been an absolute heater as well. Um, So yeah, look, all good things from the Flames. I just held on them another week. I'm just not quite there on them yet. I'm honestly expecting with the way they're playing for them to climb very close to the top 16 in the coming weeks.
Alrighty, my 22 San Jose.
I think they might have them 20.
And so for their week, they beat Anaheim, obviously with that 13 shots, conceding 42 shots, but they win 5-4. Shootout win against the Wild, and then a 7-3 hammering against the Tampa. So honestly, they're still performing really well. It's why I have them here. I just think Calgary's just playing a little bit better than them, um, personally. But they are 6-4 in their last 10. They still have a negative 19 goal differential. It shows like when they lose, they lose. Um, 20 wins and still only the 3 points in regards to OT shootout. So they are not OT merchants like a lot of the teams in the league for this season. But still liking what I see. They've been around this 20 mark for a while now and a bit consistent. But I'm waiting for that drop off. Anaheim's done it first, so Chicago's there. Utah, ex Arizona's there, so I'm waiting for the Sharks to do it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm hopeful. Like I really, really do hope that they can just hold on, whether they make the playoffs or not. But it's been an exciting season. But I don't know that they can hold it for a full 82. All right, 21 for me. I've got the LA Kings.
Yeah, my 20.
Um, I feel like I was a little bit lenient on them this week due to the nature of their week. I mean, they came up against probably arguably the three best teams in the NHL at the moment. They lose 2-5 to Colorado Avalanche. They lose 3-5 to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then they get a 5-4 shootout win against Minnesota. So all in all, 2 from 3 points against the three best teams. You probably take that. Um, and yeah, but I'm still not liking what I'm seeing from the Kings. Like I expect better from this team, and it's just not being produced at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You summed it up pretty well there. On to 19. Edmonton Oilers,
We
coming out of my top 16.
They're my 18.
And this is just look, it's McDavid at 19. That's basically what it is. I think he's got like 72 something ridiculous points at this
The
point.
Edmonton McDavids.
Yeah, pretty much. But they beat the Jets. They did get the Jets did put double the shots on them. Then they go and lose 6-2 to Boston and lose 5-2 to Philly. I'd expect at least 4 points from that week, losing or getting a point from the Philly game. Um, yeah, I still like all season. I haven't been convinced with them. It's just McDavid really doing McDavid things. They are 5-5 in the last 10.
Mhm,
Negative goal differential with all that goal scoring and point scoring. It's because they can't defend. And
mhm.
yeah, I'm not convinced with them, but they will make playoffs because how weak that division is.
Yeah,
That division is disgusting, and that's why sometimes their stats look better than what they probably should, is because they get the feed off that division.
yeah. Well, I just show you. I'll just show you a quick stat of and the vast difference between these two. Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon are 2 points apart. 2 points in the standings. Connor McDavid has a plus minus of 0.
Mm,
Nathan McKinnon has a plus minus of 51.
mm.
McKinnon has 56 even strength points. McDavid has 39. He's got
See,
31
yeah,
power play points.
yeah. The thing
Like,
is, McKinnon has McCarr. McKinnon has Taves. Like McDavid's
yeah,
got Bouchard. McDavid's got
yeah.
Nurse.
No,
Like it's, I know, but it's just funny when you think of like the comparison. It's like
oh,
oof,
100%.
oofed.
And
It's
that's
probably
a
the,
really
and they probably spent more on the D than Colorado there.
yeah, well, exactly. Like, and that's sort of what I was pointing out on it is like you look at it's all well and good to produce those points, but when you don't have the team backing you up, like those two players have scored basically the same points. One is the best team in the league, and the other one's barely making playoffs.
Mm.
So, and it just shows you that you can have the best player in the league all you want, but if you don't have a team around them, they're going to struggle. And I get it. They made the last two Stanley Cup finals, all the rest of it. But at some point, it's going to falter. And they're really struggling this year. And I knew I shouldn't have put him in my top 16 last week because I just had an inkling, like the Rangers, I was going to be throwing them straight back out.
Yeah. Uh, It's just one of those things where like none of the teams last week really deserve to be in the top 16 at the bottom.
No, exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, brace yourself because this call is a big one. I told you I had a big call. And at 19, I have the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yes. I have them at 16, barely scraping in, but
Oh,
I like your call.
I kicked them out, man. They are horrid at the moment. Um, like we'll talk about their week first, but I want to go into a couple of things. They lose 2-5 to Minnesota Wild, but they have 16 shots for the game. They lose 2-4 against the Nashville Predators, and then they lose 3-4 against the St. Louis Blues. Now, that's a St. Louis Blues team that did not have more than 20 shots on the week. Also, they managed 0 points this week, so they didn't even manage to be the OT merchants like they have been. You then go to their standings. They are 45 points. They would literally be second to bottom in the East. And they are 3-5-2 in their last 10. They have a negative goal difference. And they are 17-22 if you went wins and losses.
Yep.
They are in trouble. Like
Yep.
17 wins. They are bottom in the East in terms of wins. And they are fourth to bottom or equal fourth to bottom in the West in terms of wins.
Yeah.
They are in trouble. They can't win. I do think their team is strong enough and they will eventually get it together and they will make playoffs. It'll be kind of like an Edmonton situation, but it's not good. Like they look ordinary and if it wasn't for all those OT points, they would find themselves at the bottom end. They would be in a similar position to the Jets, in my opinion.
Yeah. Look, ultimately, I think they make playoffs no matter what. Um,
Mm,
because I think they play all right, enough obviously to get the OT points.
mm,
So they're always in it. It's just they're below average. Uh,
mm.
I just couldn't have them out top 16. Slightly out. I really wanted to do it, but
Because the
it
teams in the top 16 and just outside the top 16 don't deserve to be in the top
nah,
16.
it's kind of like a top 14 or whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those things. But I just think they like the points percentage wise, they're on top of their division. I think
Mhm,
they're second in regards to points because they have played less games. Um, it it's really they're going to make playoffs, and then they
mhm.
I I had them as my favorites at the start of the year. I do think they're
Changed.
a chance just to turn it on in the playoffs. I think
Yeah,
I think they're like Florida. They got the locker room
they've got
for it.
that team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they've got to make it. Obviously, you can't just we're only at the halfway point. Well, they're not even at the halfway. They only
Yeah.
played 39 games.
Yeah.
Um, on to 18. Moving on up, Pittsburgh Penguins
Ooh.
from a massive down to a massive up.
I've gone big on them and they are in my top 16 again.
Wow, wow. He's taken.
Hmm.
So they beat Chicago, beat Carolina, beat Detroit in OT, and then beat Detroit again in regulation, keeping them to 12 shots. Um, really strong. I called it. I told you at the schedule was screwing them over, and they didn't have a rest for like
Yeah.
3 weeks, and they needed to get back to training and rest those muscles and everything. And now looking, they came out and they're firing again. Like I literally called it, which shows us the schedule plays such an important role in how a season plays out. Like
Hmm.
obviously, but in NHL, it plays probably more than any other game, NBA, etc.
Yep.
Because of how stupid, like you mentioned earlier, the back to backs were. Um,
Right.
and yeah, it's just a thing where a team can get shafted for a
Hmm.
while. Like you go into poor form while you're on like a playing every second day,
Yeah.
and you can't get to training.
And
Um,
you can't get out of the slump.
yeah, because you need to hit training to work on something, and then you can't
Mhm.
because you don't have the days to do it. And yeah, it's a stupid thing. But yeah, I called it. I like I like him in the top 16 on your call there.
Mm.
I was just a little bit hesitant. Like there, I could have easily thrown him in there.
Yeah.
It's how close that edge of the 16 is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they've been good. I like where they are. I was happy with that call, especially over Vegas. I just couldn't.
Mm.
I had Vegas at 16 originally, and I just went, no. Do you know what? Vegas are horrible. Get out of my 16. Pens, you can go there. Speaking of another team that they were in my top 16 for a little bit whilst I was doing this, and I had to kick them out because they've been ordinary. It's the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, valid. I have them at 15. They're still in the top there. They move up one. It's not. It's only because of Vegas. That's why.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, look, they didn't have a terrible week, but they get a 1-2 OT loss against Calgary, a 6-2 win against Edmonton, and then a 3-2 OT win against Vancouver. So they have a good week. But they are just they've been like this all season. They
Yeah,
go on streaks and then they go on win streaks, then losing streaks, and they're currently on I think a 2 game winning streak. So I expect them to probably win another two, three, and then they'll go on a 5 game losing streak. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I consider them very similar to New Jersey Devils in a sense. I think New Jersey Devils play a bit better, but they have the both same wins. They're just not OT merchants.
mhm,
And if they were, both those teams would be way higher. But they
yeah,
are 3-5-2 in the last 10. But New Jersey was like that, like last week. But they've won the last two. So
yeah.
on to 17, still outside my top 16. I have Nashville.
Oh, yeah, they're my 15. I
Yeah,
did it. I put them in my top 15.
yeah. I was basically
So,
contemplating Nashville, Pittsburgh, replacing Boston, Vegas. That's how I was considering it, but I didn't do
mm,
it. I It's just they were so bad for so long. But they have been playing well consistently now for probably 3 weeks or so. Um, beat Utah, beat Vegas, on a back-to-back, lose to Seattle, and then they win against Calgary. The reason I didn't go as hard is like 3 of those games are easy games.
yeah,
If you I'm considering Vegas a hard game. um, so that's why I didn't go hard hard. They go up positions. They would have went more if the schedule, like the teams they versed, were not 20 and below.
yeah, yeah. I think for me, like they've been heading in the right trajectory for quite some time now, and that's why I moved them because I was so hesitant for so long because of how poorly they started the season. They were so far back, and now they're in a potential playoff spot. But this has been the Nashville Predators for probably the last 4 or 5 weeks now.
Yeah,
It's been like they're proving that first month and a half that they were really, really they were the worst team in the league. Basically, they've proven that they've put that well and truly behind them, and they're good to go. So yeah, I just had to drive them up a little bit.
yeah. I don't think this is what on it. It's good to always be winning games, but ultimately with how that division's working out, I think it would be better to be like Winnipeg and be at the bottom to get those draft picks,
At the
and
moment,
sell
for
those
sure.
assets. I don't know. It's hard to see them do good in playoffs.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
all
100%.
right. You're cool.
All right, it is. And at 14, I have the New Jersey Devils.
You're my 13.
Yeah, look, interesting week for them. They get shut out by the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-0. Um, and then on the back to back, they were getting shut out until a point where they scored 3 goals in 2 minutes, and then they ultimately win that game, 3-2. And then they go and win against the Utah Mammoth today, 4-1. So they went from no offense at all and couldn't score a goal to scoring 3 goals in 2 minutes and then 4 goals against the Utah in a pretty quick fashion today as well. Um, Look, they played better against Columbus and they played well against Utah, I'm still hesitant on this team. I think Brett Pesce being back has really helped solidify the team in the D. I know it's like a team should never have their D core completely crumble when a player goes out, but I think Pesci was that glue for their D core, um, and their D has been much better since being back.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah,
see
they
if it
also
keeps
never
going.
they haven't had Kovacevic for the whole year as well. Like they've been
No.
de-strucken for a while. They've had AHL is playing on the third line pretty much all
Yeah,
season, and
and
yep,
and Pesci, Kovacevic, I think it was Kovacevic and Siegenthaler and Pesci and Hughes were in the top five D pairing defensemen for most of last season before they had injuries.
yeah, yeah.
So
Look, they've had
yeah,
their scoring woes. My issue with this team, their PK still sucks. And with the refing in this league, it's pretty easy to get a team 2-3 power plays a game, and
yeah.
so they were going to concede 1 to 2 goals a game purely on power plays.
Mhm.
Um, and that is how it is. So they've got to sort that out. But on to 14, I have another division, same division, Washington Capitals,
Yeah, they're my 12.
the 12. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't move on them. Whoa. All right. So
Hated it.
going through the week, 5-3 loss to Florida. They 6-3 win against Rangers on a back-to-back lose by 1 goal against Ottawa in regulation, and then in Chicago, well, at home against Chicago, they go to shootouts and lose that extra point in shootout. They aren't playing bad. It's decent. It's just with that type of week, I was expecting better. Um,
Yeah.
better results, especially for a team at this point. They are 3-5-2 in their last 10. Um, and it's kind of that what I said last week. They just look a little bit slower. Um,
Mm,
they're still firing, like they're still obviously top 16, but
yeah.
I would have thought they would be a little bit higher and doing a little bit better, and that's why I went down one because it's 2 weeks now where I'm like, ooh, so yeah.
Yeah, I considered moving them down. Like I was talking even potentially to the bottom of the top 16, but I didn't want to move that hard on the Pens or the Predators. I didn't want to move that hard on the Devils, and I didn't want to move that hard on the team who I've got in 13.
I don't know, a plus
It was
nine,
just
plus 11's pretty hard, but yeah.
yeah, but I didn't want to keep that going because I was like, if I keep going, I'll
plus
end up with the
32,
Pen.
they're at the top. It's all
If I keep going, I'm going to end up with the Penguins at number one.
right. Hey, 4
um,
0. No other team did that, so it's valid for this week. How about
yeah,
that?
exactly. All right, let's jump into my 13. I've got the Ottawa Senators.
Um, yeah, 12.
Yeah, so look, they are performing well, and they get off to a really poor start. They lose 1-4 to the Columbus Blue Jackets, but the Jackets been on a little bit of a run. They performed a lot better this week. 4-3 win against the Capitals and a 4-2 win against the Jets. So not the hardest week, probably a week that they should have had um, all 6 points, in all honesty. They go up 5 spots, but for me, that was more just the teams below them were so poor that I had to move them up. Like that's it's just how it was. Like the teams below them were, oh, sorry, in front of them were that poor that they just kept going up and up and up. And I found them at 13, and I went, I don't really think these guys should be here, but that's fine. This is where they fall. But yeah, look, they're performing well enough. They're performing a lot better than they have in recent weeks. I think they're going to be a team that starts to turn it on, especially in this new year. I do expect them still to make playoffs. The one thing I do want to bring up though is that bloody cheap shot against, and you haven't watched it because you refused to watch it because of Langy you, but just on the reffing, how does someone sucker punch someone? They turn around, they say, I don't want to fight because he couldn't fight, he had his hand wrapped. The guy, Logan Stanley, then sucker punches him in the jaw whilst the ref's holding both of them back. And then the ref goes, Do you know what? I'm going to give two minor penalties to Logan Stanley for roughing, but I'm going to give Brady Kachuk a 10-minute game misconduct for unsportsmanlike conduct because he obviously went bunter at the Jets bench because he just got punched in the jaw. Like, it's just it's baffling to me how a player who gets punched, you're not allowed to do that. He's taken his gloves off. He's thrown a punch to a guy who has refused the fight, didn't want to fight, and the ref's gone, do you know what? We're not going to eject you. Yeah, yeah, it's fine. But you for getting upset because someone sucker punched you, yeah, we're going to give you a 10-minute game misconduct. It's rubbish, and that shit is what needs to get taken out of the game. I'm sick and tired of seeing these little love taps on sticks that like clip the tiniest bit of the finger as it's coming up the stick, or it just taps the stick and then it's nothing, getting called as a slashing penalty, yet sucker punching people in the face just gets let go. You can cross check people to the back of the head. Like, you want to get rid of the shit. Stop calling those dodgy slashing penalties unless it is an actual slash and start calling the cross
My,
checks.
the way to sort it out, I know we're going a little bit longer here on this point, but the way to sort it out, you start doing double minors for the egregious stuff, or 5 minute majors. Obviously, like I've seen cross checking to the faces on the national stage not getting called. We've seen obviously that occurrence today, or this week, and it's just it's happening everywhere
Mhm.
throughout the league all year, and not being called.
Constant.
And there needs to be more 4 minute majors, like 4 minute double minors for these more egregious things than just a little tap on a hand. Like
Mhm.
I think if you come in like this, I think that should be a 4 minute because you basically almost try to kill the guy. Whereas
Mhm.
you just a little tap to the hand, I think that's 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's going to stop the BS. But we'll,
Yeah.
we'll call it there because we could go on. We should just do a video
All
on that
day.
itself, and
We
yeah,
we
we'll
probably should.
probably start losing our hair from the stress. Moving on to 11, Montreal for me.
Montreal, oh, they're my 10.
Oh, mistakes were made. No, that's all
Top 10.
right.
I
Yeah,
didn't like it. I did not like it.
now there's been partner along. It's kind of like New Jersey, Ottawa, Montreal. They just kept like slowly moving up for me this week.
Yeah.
6-2-2 in their last 10. Still a negative goal differential, um, which is kind of insane for where they are in the standings.
Yep.
Their week shootout loss against Tampa. They OT win against Florida, 7-5 win against Carolina, and then they get blanked by St. Louis. So I don't know how you go on 7-5 Carolina, but then get blanked by St. Louis.
Mhm.
The scoring wasn't really a problem this week until that game. Uh, really hard week, Tampa, Florida, Carolina. Really hard week. Come against the easy opponent, and then you lose that one. And that's kind of where I couldn't put them in my top 10. They're always
Yeah.
like, always a step back.
Just
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah, and the other thing was two of the wins were well, they didn't win it, but going to OT or shootout, which is draws. But draws against tough
Yeah.
opponents. They're playing
Yeah.
well. Definitely deserve. This is like where the real top 16 starts,
Yeah.
which is kind of like a top 10. That's
Yeah.
kind of how it's been. There's kind of like good, 10 to 12 teams, and then the rest have been mediocre or really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely agree with that. They've made power rankings extremely difficult this year. That's for sure. All right. In number 11 for me, I've got Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, still my 10. I still believe in them.
I'm getting a little bit worried for them. Like, they're still really hard to score against, but I am seeing a little bit of regression from them. They lose 1-4 against the Seattle Kraken. They 6-3 win against the Canucks, 1-5 against the Calgary Flames, and then a 5-2 win against the Oilers. So, yeah, like that week, I know the Flames have been a lot better. The Kraken obviously started to go
Nah,
on a
they
bit
should
of
have
a
got. They
run.
should have got 8 points this week. You're
They
100%,
probably should
100%
have,
right.
right? They probably should have been six points at least, and they walk out as an even. So yeah, to me, they sort of dropped the ball a little bit this week, and you can sort of see a couple of gaps in their game, and maybe some cracks, especially conceding 5 goals against the Flames. So yeah, I think they're one to watch. They could be one that starts to drop off in this second half of the season.
Yeah, yeah, you're not wrong. They're 5-3-2 in their last 10. You kind of need to have six or more to be
Mm,
consistently in the top 10. On to another team, Detroit Red Wings. Um, did the same thing. Another team that kind of had a poor week. Oh, he stayed at 7. So
mhm.
their week OT win against Toronto. They versus Winnipeg, winning by a goal. On the back-to-back, OT loss against Pittsburgh, and then face Pittsburgh again and gets destroyed 4-1, only having the 12 shots. So they come against the hot Pittsburgh and couldn't get it done. Beat Winnipeg, which you should, and going to OT against Toronto, which is fine, and then they get the extra point. So all in all, really good week. I just obviously moved another team, aka Buffalo,
Above,
above them, so that was it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, I could have moved them down, but there's a reason, and I'll talk about it a little bit after. But um, talking about the negative goal difference and how Montreal
Yeah,
amazed
I
you,
was gonna bring
they're
them. Yeah,
negative. They're -7,
yeah, it's crazy.
and they're one of the best teams in the East and the Atlantic. Like that's wild. Uh, all right, I'll go on to 9. And my 9 is the team you were just talking about, the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, okay. I went harder. I went 5.
Yeah, see, this is where I really would have gone hard because 10 game winning streak is nothing to cry. Like that's a lot. That's a great streak. Like not a lot of teams do it. Everyone just don't worry about Colorado. They're not included in any conversation.
They're
They're
not
not
in
even a
this league.
yeah. They've created their own league. But it was that loss against Columbus Blue Jackets today, losing 5-1 against the Jackets to end their streak. I mean, it's got to end somewhere, but I just didn't expect it to end in such a dramatic fashion. But look, yeah, look, another good win, 4-2 win against the Blues. Not overly that good of a team, obviously, but a 4-1 win to bring up their 10-game winning streak against the Dallas Stars. That was an incredible win, albeit Dallas has been on a bit of a slide. But that 1-5 loss really, really hurt them. I think if they had won that game or it was tighter, um, I probably would have had them a bit higher.
Okay. Let us know what you think, Buffalo fans. I'm with you.
Sorry,
You can do it. Nah, it's alright.
sorry, I hate you guys. I don't like
Now you hit
Buffalo.
it heard
They're
first. Cut it.
terrible.
Cut it. Make it short. Boom. You said it. All right. That's right. We're mainstream media. All right. On to 8 for me. Florida Panthers.
Oh, 8 for me too. We
Ooh.
agree on something.
You finally got something right. No. Um, Washington Capitals. They beat them. On the back to back from that game, they go to OT against Montreal. They lose it. Then they go and get 1-5 by the Rangers. And that's why they moved down for me. They
Yep.
yeah, played well in the first 2 games. It's the 1-5 against the Rangers. They did almost double their shots. But, a team that's been shut out so much this season, I would expect this
You
team
shouldn't be conceding
to do
five
a
goals
bit
again.
better. So, yeah, that's why they slide down just one position for me. But yeah, but still top 10, even though like they're not like they're 17th in
In the
points, but
in
they're
the
six,
rankings, I
six
know.
yeah 6-3-1 in the last 10, but they are just playing well. Like they're they're,
Yeah.
they're playing to this caliber. So yeah,
Yeah, they're playing hockey that you would and they got Matthew Kachuk coming back very soon as well. So they're gonna be bolstered even more, which is good. So yeah, I fully expect the Panthers to make it, albeit this season and the way the East is, this could be the season that they get stuffed over with and they get their team ready to go. They hit their straps right as the playoffs are starting and don't make the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. Um, all right. Number 6 for me, I have the New York Islanders.
they're my 7.
He's going down on them. Brutal. Jesus, he's not a believer anymore, Islanders fans. I think you should send him
Yeah,
a bunch of hate mail.
out the top 16
Um,
soon. I've been paid. I've been paid to
uh,
do it. No, sure.
yeah. Look, 2-4 loss against Columbus, 3-2 shootout win against Chicago, 2-7 loss against Utah, and I would say that is where Jaden has moved so hard on. And then a 4-3 OT win against Toronto. So the tough part here is they get 4 points from 4 games in a week where they played a lot of weak opponents, and they should probably have ended up with 6 to 8 at the minimum. Um, so I understand your move down on them, and I do get it. I just didn't think Detroit, Florida, or anyone else really played well enough. And I didn't want to move too hard on Buffalo just yet, especially after that really poor loss against the Jackets today. So yeah, for me, they stay still. But if they have another week like that against poor opponents, they probably will find themselves out the top 10.
Alrighty, on to my six, the Carolina Hurricanes.
Mm.
Just been a bit slower and whatnot for a while now, and then they have a poor results week. OT win against Rangers on the back-to-back 5-1 loss to the hot Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
7-5 loss to Montreal, and then the 5-3 loss to Colorado. Look, they're playing alright, but those last 3 games, too many goals conceded. They're averaging 4 goals against for the week because of that, and that's where you're kind of losing me. And it's been
Mhm.
a slight, backward step for a while, probably the last couple of weeks, like 2 to 3
Mhm.
weeks. Obviously lost their last three. They're 4-5-1 in their last 10, and yeah, just too many goals conceded this week. For a team that's normally all about their
Really good
defense,
defense.
um,
Yeah.
they didn't do it. And I know it's a hard week in regards to schedule. Like Rangers can always give it to you. Pittsburgh, obviously, on a bounce back. Montreal, who we just discussed, and then obviously the hot Colorado. So
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit of a difficult week, but they have been a little bit poor lately.
yeah,
All right, my number four, another team that has been a little bit poor lately, the Dallas Stars.
yep,
Yeah, look, they have been heading in a pretty south direction for a little bit now. They're 4-4-2 in their last 10, um, and they've lost their last two. So this week they lose 1-4 to the Buffalo Sabres. They lose 3-4 to the Chicago Blackhawks. They only play the 2 games, but you know, I get that the Chicago game is on a back to back, and I don't think the Chicago weren't on a back to back. Again, schedule like we spoke about a
yeah. I
few
wanted to
times.
bring that up. They're only team that play 2 games and they play a back to back for the
Yeah,
week. Like
yeah.
why?
So
Come on. So yeah,
well, yeah, exactly. Like it's not even the fact that they play a back to back on a week that they only play 2 games. It's the fact that they play a back to back against a team that doesn't have a back to back. Like it's not okay. Like, but play teams against each other on back to backs. Like schedule a team. You're playing a back to back. You're playing a back to back. Play each other. It makes it fair. Playing a team that's had 3 days rest or 2 days rest against a team that's on a back to back is rubbish scheduling. And I get that it might have to happen here and there, but we're seeing it constantly. Just this week alone, this game, Chicago, no back to back. Dallas on a back to back. The Seattle Kraken and Vancouver situation earlier. Like it's rubbish scheduling. But again, it's no excuse to lose to the Chicago Blackhawks. Just with how they've been, I think it's a game that Dallas still should have won. And yeah, to pick up 0 points this week, I had to drop them a little bit. The game has been a little bit lacking lately, but they're in such a good position because they've played so well through the first 40 games that they can go on a slide and still be fine.
yeah. All right, on to number three, Tampa Bay Lightning. What a
Ooh, they're
what
my two.
what a run. Won the last seven, 7-2-1 in their last 10. Second now in plus minus goal differential, which used to be the Stars.
Hmm.
Um, So yeah, he's just going off by goal differential, guys. Nah. uh, so start of the week, Montreal shootout win. Go to OT win against Anaheim on a back-to-back against LA, a team that was not on a back-to-back as we, scheduling. But they win that 5-3, and then they verse San Jose and win 7-3. So 3 out of the 4 games against Pacific teams, they win all 4 games for the week, feeding off the Pacific. Where it lost me a little bit is 2 of the games were obviously OT shootout, and Montreal were really good in that first game. I think that could have gone Montreal's way, but ultimately they are just red hot, and I can't believe they're back here. But yeah, really really exciting team. It's hard to see flaws at the moment. They're
Yep.
25-16 in regards to wins losses, which
Hmm.
is ridiculous. It's
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know where to see flaws at the moment.
How is this team still so good? Yeah, I know. It's. Can you just let someone else be good for once, please? Like you've had your time. Go away. Oh,
Let
oh,
Buffalo just go playoffs. Come on, guys. Um,
I know, right?
all right, who's
Um,
your number two?
number two.
Oh, number three. Your number three.
It
Sorry, my number
my
two.
num my number two is Tampa, man. Can you not see the screen?
I'll just fill it in. I'll just
My
fill
number
it in.
three is definitely Colorado Avalanche. 10-game winning streak. Pfft, what is that? I know it's the Minnesota Wild. They don't move for me. It's not that they're doing anything wrong. They had an okay week. I think they went 2-2. They get a 5-2 win against the Vegas Golden Knights. Weaker opponent. 3-4 shootout loss against the San Jose Sharks. 5-2 win against the Ducks and a 4-5 shootout loss against the Kings. So 6 points for the top possible eight. Two shootout losses, which, as you say, Jaden, is pretty much a tie. They're performing well, but again, this week it was probably a weaker week. They play the Pacific. We know that Pacific is probably the eight weakest teams in the league at the moment. Um, they do get 6 points, which is awesome, but I probably expected 3 wins.
Mhm.
I honestly probably expected all 8 points out of that week. But
Yeah,
the Wild is still absolutely cruising.
yeah, exactly. It's interesting that the LA game that they had today, LA, that was on a back-to-back. LA was not on a back-to-back. So 2 out of 3 games this week for LA, they versed teams on a back-to-back when they weren't on one. Um,
Hmm.
so they're favoring California teams and trying to get the Pacific better. That's right.
Yep.
They've modified the schedule
And they
halfway through the season,
and they still can't.
and they still
And
can't.
they still can't.
All the benefits the Pacific gets, and they still can't do anything good. All right, on to number one, Colorado, and
Yeah. Do,
that's
we
the
need to
end of
talk
our
about these
power
guys?
rankings. Thanks for watching. Obviously, won the last three. They versed LA. They were not on a back to back, so that was the one game LA did not first one. St. Louis 6-1. They kept St. Louis to 13 shots. Then 5-3 Carolina. So
Mm.
they're scoring a lot. The opponents are not scoring a lot. Eh, Like, what do you say? Like, win their last 10 plus 73 points. You've already mentioned McKinnon when we talked about McDavid. They haven't lost in regulation at home. Only the two in regulation losses. At this point, this is probably going to be the biggest fumble in playoffs in history, just for how well this regular season's gone, because
Yep.
of how hard playoffs can be. Um,
This could be a Boston Bruins
this
3
could
years
be
ago.
like a first round exit because they're versing a Wild or a Dallas, and or something crazy. Like maybe not Wild to Dallas, but something crazy. And yeah, I don't know. It's just coasting to playoffs. I don't know what to say. They have +6 wins compared to the next highest, which is Dallas
Yeah.
and Wild and
There,
Tampa.
there's nothing else you can say. You may as well just hard code them in at number one at this point. They're playing some of the most insane hockey I've seen in a long time. Um, they're just so fast. They're so dangerous. It's so good to watch, but um, yeah, at the end of the day, like Boston when they broke the record, when Tampa Bay had their record breaking season, it means jack shit. if you get
Yeah.
bounced in the first round.
Yeah, there's
Like
there's
those
two
two teams
seasons,
did.
regular season, playoffs, and
Yeah,
they've showed up for one of them. You can show up for the second one.
exactly. Like they've done all they need to do. They could pretty much pack their bags and just stay home for the rest of the season, and they've done their job.
Yeah, what do you
They
reckon? You
just
need
need.
97 points. So, well,
Oof,
they're basically 30, if not
not
less, away from like absolutely secure playoffs.
91 got teams in the playoffs last year.
All right, so
So
they're 22 away. so,
yeah,
so they need 11 wins or just a a half, OT wins and whatnot. That's
exactly. So
yeah,
yeah,
in 40 something games, that's what, a 25%, right?
yeah, they'll
Yeah.
basically have locked themselves up in playoffs in the next 15 games, and they can pretty much just pack their sticks up, and they can just forfeit the next 25 games after that and just rest up for playoffs
Yeah, I guess
because
guess they're eager to play golf. They're just like, all right, we'll pack up the season. We'll just go play golf get an extended period of golf, and then come back for
yeah.
playoffs.
I mean,
Um,
look, it's a benefit, dude, because with the heavy schedule this season, and everything still to come, uh, having the ability to go to McCarr and McKinnon and all the rest of that and say, hey, you probably have a few games off here and there if you wanted to, just to rest up, because it will mean nothing. They're going to be so far ahead of everyone that McCarr and McKinnon could go on a week holiday whilst the season's still going, and they come back and they're fine. Um,
yeah,
so yeah,
it's all about nursing injuries at this point. But yeah, let us know what you
yeah,
think of our power rankings, where you agree and disagree with either of our rankings. And yeah, let us know your rankings or what you would have done differently. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, leave a comment below. But until next time, I guess we'll catch you guys.
bye guys.